All right, so I want to talk about the the lackluster reaction to Christians' lackluster reaction to Matt Walsh's debate with Joe Rogan when it comes to redefining marriage, right? So a lot of Christians or religious people have talked about he should have appealed to the Bible, and I just think that's a default way of saying that I have no way of defending this outside of the Bible, which is why we lost the gay marriage debate because we can't articulate the importance of traditional marriage outside the Bible, even though societies that didn't even acknowledge the importance of the Bible had traditional marriage as as something that was deemed important. You might had polygamy, which was one man, multiple women, and each woman was just married to the man. They weren't all married to each other. So if the man dies, the women weren't still married to each other. They can whatever. But regardless of this, regardless of polygamy, which I'm not advocating for, why he didn't not him. This because it's not a criticism of him with Joe Rogan. The Christian response of why traditional marriage is important. The reason why how he said he should have defended is why we lost the cultural war as far as this, and why we won't gain any ground at all. All right, we gained ground on abortion because we was able to articulate it based on nature and principles that people commonly regard as fundamental moral principles in science and things of this nature. And this is why people are change their minds a lot on abortion. So they're not either as extreme, they soften their position, or outright change their position on abortion. So you can we moved the needle a lot on abortion based on certain fundamental principles of morality and that people respect and take seriously, as well as principles of science and things of this nature. And people understand things like murder or theft or we'll say violating someone in violating someone's intimacy, right? Violating somebody in an intimate way is all wrong, and you don't appeal to the Bible when it comes to that. So why would we think that appealing to the Bible will come? Like why would we think that'll work with somebody who doesn't even believe the Bible? Why would we think so? Like we should use this to show that the Bible makes sense, but instead we're using this to show that we just believe this just because of the Bible, and this has no real it's almost like this has no real place outside of biblical belief, kind of like something like baptism or something like that, or circumcision or something like that. Like this just has no real purpose. This is just particular to a religion, and that's it. Even though that's not why societies have regard marriage as a very important institution. So there's like several questions in regards to this that if you don't understand these questions, you will answer to these questions or understand how to answer these questions. You'll neither be able to articulate or respect, or might not even respect why marriage. Why marriage institution is the way it is, and why it's important. Okay, so there's what is the purpose of institutions in the first place? Why they're important? What purpose do they serve, and why they're important? Why they're important in regards to why do humans need and have institutions in the first place? Because yes, there's human beings can do bad with institutions. They can do bad with anything they get their hands on. But why do humans need institutions in the first place? All right, that's one. Number two, what about the human design or human nature in regards to human interaction requires this institution having this institution in the first place, right? So if we acknowledge the purpose of institutions, what about human interaction and whatever human interaction or engagement in the human design needs this would be complemented by having this institution, or would be served by having an institution in the first place? Then what about this institution is in importance to what about human interaction or whatever is important that is serviced by this institution? I think that's the same question. I'm sorry. This institution is important. Oh, I'm sorry. What about this institution is important in serving this human interaction or engagement? Right. What about this institution is important in service this interaction and engagement? So, what aspects of this institution are important in? Because if you don't understand that part, then you might not understand why this thing. You won't be able to articulate. You won't understand why this institution is important or articulate why it's important too. And I'm gonna say this about human sexuality and um, gender and human sexuality. Like we don't not understanding the dynamic, not understanding everything about the human design in regards to this and certain realities in regards to this is why has a lot to do with why people don't really respect marriage as much. This is how you got the things like the sexual revolution and things and all the disastrous outcomes of that when you have single parent households and you have um, all these diseases and all these abortions and things of this nature. And whether you believe abortion is never something you want to have to engage in because it causes a lot of problems, even if you, um, a lot of problems with guilt and psychological issues and things of this nature. At post abortion, then you have just men and women being predatory, using their sexuality to be predatory towards each other and things of this nature, and then a lot of confusion when it comes to that. It's just been a hot mess. It's not been good. And then, the kids that are born in these unhealthy situations, single parent households and things like that, killing other people. It's just been a hot mess. So, and then you have why, and then based on that, like, why would government get involved? Why would government have a vested interest in getting involved in this institution? All right. And then you have, like, how would including same-sex couples either complement or undermine or do nothing to this institution? Like, there's two fundamental kind of definitions of marriage, beliefs of marriage. There's you know um, there's the marriage is a comprehensive union between man and a woman for the which serves the purpose of procreation, which tells you a lot of and then three aspects of it is it's permanent. No, it's permanent. It's monogamous. It involves, first of all, it involves gender. I'm sorry, it's monogamous, and then it's exclusive. All right, so it's I'm sorry, it's permanent, it involves gender, and it's exclusive. Those are the three things. I'm sorry. So so it takes all right. So it's defined by the comprehensive act, which is the marriage act, which is and when husband and wife have relations, which involves the mind, body, and mind, body, and emotions. It involving a comprehensive good, which is producing a child. This is why it involves gender, and this is why when you cheat, it involves having relations with someone else, not just talking to them or rubbing your hands together or something like that, or going to hear them speak. It involves you engaging in intimate activities of this way nature, and it being permanent also complements it because it when the couples decide to be in each other for the long haul, it affects the outcome with the children as well as the adults also. Now you have the other definition, which, and I'm not going to get into too long of a defense of this, but you have the other definition that just says is about two adults loving each other, but nothing, and also it being about children is why the government gets involved. Will have a vested interest in getting involved because the institution is about something outside of the two adults involved, and sometimes when there's a third party involved that's independent of the two parties that gets involved, that's involved with independent of the two parties that interaction, the government gets involved in it. Like if I build a house and like me and this person is building a house for each other, and there's smoke that's affecting this third person, they're going to put regulations on me and us because it's affecting this other person over here, not because of what we're doing not because the smoke is affecting us, because we're consenting to that. All right, so that's one. And number two, the government has invested in get involved in for healthy children. A, for a healthy society, and B, who's going to take care of the children? Who's going to take care of them? They can't take care of themselves, and who's going to be responsible when they do something offer things of this nature. All right. So that explains why the government will have the vested interest involved. That's why it will explain as permanent, monogamous, and exclusive, and things of this nature. Now, the other definition with people being in love, nothing about that. And then, oh yeah, and also like certain alimony laws and things of this nature, like somebody took out work to take care of the kids, and then the other spouse left because they was able to build their business up. So now this person lost out on building, able to build his their work capacity, and which was a lot of times a woman. Now she's out of luck on that. So the government's like, okay, you're not going to just up and abandon it. You're this obligation to this child. This person invested in this child, and you're not going to. This is why you can necessarily get half their stuff, as opposed to boyfriend and girlfriend, and you together and you split. Why would you get half someone else's stuff for that? But when a child's involved, when you're married and have a child and and this institution is about having a child, then whatever. Now, people might incidentally have a child, not have a child, but just because you can get like but if you do what was required to obtain the license, then what you do with the license is a whole nother thing. Like you could, like a certain person who gets a medical license and doesn't practice medicine, doesn't mean they shouldn't get a medicine license just because they if they fulfill the requirements of it and things of this nature. And then there's other laws where the people talk about, which has to do with seeing people in the hospital and things of this nature. And some of these laws, it's just like, why would you need to be married in the first place to have that privilege with the person? Maybe you can, we understand there's a default person, but we can just talk to work out something with the government where another person, whether it's a spouse or whatever, or loved one or whatever, can be the person that can see me in the hospital, because maybe that's the first person I want to see me instead of my immediate family or something like that. So, and then, so you got the two, and then it's nothing about, like I said, it's nothing about two adults being in love. It involves just two people. Nothing involves the permanent genders. Nothing involves that says a man, brother and sister can't engage in that, because that's why certain instances laws was implemented, because it was about procreation. Nothing about that says that, and nothing about that requires an institution in the first place. Let's just redefine marriage just to be like why can't two people living in each other can be considered themselves marriage, right? If this is an intense emotional relationship, why can't two people living to each other with each other, cohabitating, consider themselves marriage? Well, if you look at the results of cohabitation, they neither have the same health, same benefits as far as the two people involved, as well as the or do they don't have the same benefits for the child either. Like, as a matter of fact, if you cohabitate before you marry, you're more likely to break up. If you have a kid before you're married, you're more likely to break up during marriage. If you even engage in intimate activity with a person you're married to before you're married, from what I read, you're more likely to break up. And this is I was just reading divorce websites on divorce, so I forget which article it was. I'm going to get into more divorce statistics at another time. But anyways, if you don't understand why institutions are important, and the realities, certain realities when it comes to gender and human sexuality and things of this nature, you're not going to really understand the importance of marriage. And if you don't understand how to answer certain questions, you probably won't be able to convince somebody why certain things are important. And we should invest in looking into what arguments that help us be able to articulate this in a secular manner. Like Ryan T. Anderson was really good with this, and I recommend you check out some of his stuff it's on YouTube, and you can watch him debate certain people and deal with certain questions when it comes to this. Alan Keyes talked about this a little bit, and Thomas Sowell also had an article written on it, and I drew on them. And I think the reason why marriage has fallen apart in the first place, because we base it on that love that they say, instead of certain other fundamentals. But that's neither here nor there. That's something I'm gonna really get into at another time. But this is just a basic overview of what the argument basically says. But I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Maybe I have a playlist on other people dealing with this topic too on this channel. And have a good day. Peace.